couple of games, you know, in hand right up there, and Central Coast they just want to get off the bottom at the moment.
For the Mariners, a couple of huge inclusions for them. They've been training apparently this week with Jair and Jordan Murray up front, but Tommy Orr comes in on the team sheet. Broski, I don't know how much we can read into this.
Yes.
He's been placed at left back. He has played there once before. Do you see him playing at left back?
Look, he very well may, but I know that coaches like to muck around with this and try and throw us off and throw the opposition off. But look, if he plays there, he can do a good job. I think, look, they've got a lot of cover there, and with Silvera and Simo on the bench, they've got a lot that can come on and cause damage as well. So whether he's left back or higher up, I think they definitely missed him last game. So he'll be very welcome back for them.
For the Reds, goalkeeper Isaac Richard, he makes his A-League debut for the Reds.
A-League debut today. Look, he made his full debut. He's a local boy, Adelaide boy, for Adelaide United. When we'll hear Tara for the FFA Cup semi-final, and done very, very well. Just to touch on that one, what Broski and you were just talking about with Tommy Orr, I've got a feeling that he might be there just to make sure, because last time Ben Halloran ripped him to pieces, to make sure that he basically keeps an eye on him as well. And they have been, you know, overtaken in midfield in the 2 games they've played against each other. Maybe they're going to push him in there and to say, right, let's just absolutely swamp midfield so we don't get overtaken.
It makes sense to have someone like Tommy Orr having with a bit more stability, a bit more experience back there. You're right, they have been overtaken down that right wing a few on both sides, so that is probably something that he's trying to stop.
Quick tip, Broski?
I think the way they've gone the last 2 times here, I'm going Adelaide.
Adelaide as well. Tara?
Adelaide for me as well, the trifecta. Well, the teams are in the tunnel, they're about to come out now. Let's get to your commentators for this afternoon, Robbie Slater and Simon Hill.
Yeah, thanks very much indeed, Tara. It is the final A-League game before Christmas. And as you mentioned, the Mariners in need of some festive cheer as they find themselves once again on the bottom of the A-League ladder. It's a position they were in for 24 of the 27 rounds last season. But their incremental improvement means they can change that if they can beat Adelaide here this evening. Easier said than done, of course. The Reds have an excellent record in Gosford, having won on each of their last 6 trips. And of course, they've also had a fortnight to prepare after the bye. Now, we are just going to pause before we continue on with kickoff to remember 2 firefighters who lost their lives this week fighting those terrible blazes in Buxton. Andrew O'Dwyer and Geoffrey Keaton of the Horsley Park Brigade sacrificed their lives to protect those of others. They will be missed and they will be remembered.
They both tragically lost their lives on Thursday night while protecting the community of Buxton in southwestern Sydney. We ask you all to join us for a moment's applause as we recognise the selfless work they did with the Rural Fire Service.
Well, I think that banner said it all, really. Thank you to the fire services, men and women who do so much to protect us. Thankfully, the conditions today in Gosford are okay. That southerly has come through off the Brisbane water. The pitch is a little patchy. That winter grass is starting to die off. And the change of surface means there's 1 or 2 bare patches. Here's the team news and some interesting changes for the Mariners. Silvera, Galafoco and Clisby all benched by Alan Stajic, with Tommy Orr listed as a left-back. He missed out, of course, against Sydney last week due to injury. Lewis Miller returns on the right. The other change sees Jordan Murray included for his first start since Adelaide's last trip here over a month ago. Up front, Jair makes his home debut, and he's looking for his first A-League goal in nearly 11 months. Now, a couple of changes for Adelaide United, both enforced through injuries to Paul Izzo and George Blackwood. So there's an A-League debut in goal for Isaac Richards, although he did play in the FFA Cup semi-final here against the Central Coast Mariners in pre-season. Nathan Konstantopoulos is included in midfield. It's his first start of the season, and it's also his 50th A-League game. Riley McGree remains sidelined due to that knee problem, and Christian Opseth still not quite right, so Al Hassan Toure continues to lead the line. Birighitti, the Mariners goalkeeper, the busiest custodian in the competition with 40 saves to his name. He's faced 53 shots on target so far this season. Of course, facing his former club tonight. And you might remember in round 6, he saved a penalty from Christian Opseth. Didn't much help the Mariners. They were beaten 3-1 that day. And a debut, as mentioned, for 20-year-old Isaac Richards. Big moment for him. He gave up cricket to be a footballer. He was quite a handy spinner by all accounts. And he is the reigning NPL goalkeeper of the year in South Australia. A few last-minute prayers. Not that Adelaide will feel they need them in this part of the world. They have such a good record. 1,050 days since Adelaide lost to the Mariners, all told, in the A-League. And as the Reds get us underway, do you see that changing tonight, Robbie Slater?
Well, that's the task for the Mariners, is to put that one away. And also, their main mission at the end of this game is to be off the foot of the table. And you talked about just how much they occupied it last season. So it's a kind of a familiar story, although there are signs that things are a little bit better.
James Tracy was offside, and I think... sorry, Robbie, continue.
No, but those signs...
Finish your point.
Yeah, those signs have got to transform into points.
Yep.
And, you know, the side he's picked looks in a very, very attacking lineup. We know they've got talent in there. We've seen already this season, De Silva, Silveira, different points. They've shone, but not the consistency needed.
Just on the Mariners' shape tonight, when they were defending that first attack by the Reds, it did seem like a back four with Tommy Orr as a left fullback. Now they're in possession. Kim Un-sun has dropped between the two central defenders, and Orr and Miller, the two wing-backs, have pushed up. So interesting stuff from Alan Stajic, trying to turn things around. I thought Mark Bosnich's point pre-game was a good one, Robbie, about Tommy Orr's inclusion on that side of the pitch, perhaps in part to try and cater for the threat of Ben Halloran, who was such a big weapon here in round 6 against the Central Coast. Here's Danny De Silva as the Mariners attack. Milan Djuric slightly overhit, but it's hooked back towards Jordan Murray, who tries the acrobatics, and it doesn't quite come off. But a move of promise in the first instance from the home side.
Yeah, and just on that back three, so, you know, 3, and they'll push high and wide. Tommy Orr, you know, had him down in the back 4 as a left fullback, and I thought that a little bit strange. He has played there before, but certainly defensive qualities are not his strong points, but certainly in that position. And what I think his strong point, Tommy Orr, is that if he gets people, you know, gets the ball, gets turned and running at people, that's where he's most dangerous. But Kim, at times, you see him set up there now, you know, when they're in good possession, he'll step in front of those, you know, two centre halves, Ziggy Gordon and Kai Rolls.
Just on Tommy Orr, you mentioned, has played left back before, according to our records, just the once. Round 27, 16-17 for Brisbane against Wellington. Here's Gianni Stensness, former Wellington player, of course. Drawing the contact from Ben Halloran and gets the free kick. Which the aforementioned Tommy Orr is considering delivering, but maybe Milan Djuric is going to pull rank here. Does have a very sweet right foot, the Bosnian. Just touched to him by Orr. Orr to sling it into the back post. Up in the air by Morone. Stensness, and on the turn was Kai Rolls! And the Mariners with the early advantage. And a rare goal in the A-League for Kai Rolls. It's just his second. And how crucial could it prove to be, even though it's come very early on for the Central Coast?
Well, Adelaide's still asleep. They haven't even started the game. Mariners have been on the front foot. And the defending here, if you look at it, Juric, the short free kick. Tommy Orr, this is what he does, just hangs it up to the back post. He's completely unmarked, Murray. And then they don't really clear it. The header from Morone wasn't the best, and Rolls, well, there's 4 red shirts, and Rolls is completely unmarked, and he finishes it well. Swivels on it, tucks it into the bottom corner, past Jakobsen, and a fantastic start for the Central Coast.
Well, this continues a bit of a pattern, doesn't it, for the Central Coast Mariners? They scored first, you might remember, pretty early on in the meeting between the two here in round 6. On that occasion, it was a Milan Djuric penalty at the other end of the field. That came after 6 minutes. On this occasion, Djuric involved again via the set piece. And credit to Robbie, to Gianni Stensness. That was an intelligent header to put on the assist for Kai Rolls.
Yeah, well, the Moroni header, you know, he was stretching a bit forward, but didn't get the distance, and Stensness just sensed Kai Rolls in that little bit of space, and certainly, you know, the Adelaide defenders were very, very static.
There's Stensness again, just stepping across to take it away from Miliusnic. Jair trying to take it first time to deceive Ryan Strain, who wasn't fooled. And the Reds will launch an attack through Halloran, who's overhit his release for Toure. So that long unbeaten run that the Reds have strung together against Central Coast, as mentioned at the start of the game, 1,050 days, February 2017. The last time the Mariners managed to win an A-League game against Adelaide United. Could today be the day? Still very early on in the contest, of course. But a very bright start for Alan Stajic and his team. There he is. 2019, probably fair to say, a year he'll be happy to see the back of in many respects. His name in the public forum again this week due to that FFA inquiry. There's his opposite number, Herchan Verbeek. Interesting article in the Adelaide Advertiser yesterday from Val Miliacho, our journalistic colleague, talking about how he struggled with the cultural differences in football in Australia, the heat, the lack of international breaks, the buys, all a bit double Dutch to the Dutchman. Jair has done well to keep that one alive, and then he's been upended by Ryan Strain, and it's another free kick, similar sort of an area as to where the Mariners created their first goal from.
Yeah, and just continuing this bright start from the Mariners. They're just a little bit sharper, quicker to the ball. Ryan Strain's pointing to the sideline there. He's saying that the ball had gone out, but the referee's assistant didn't flag.
Got to play the whistle, haven't you? And he was a bit clumsy in that follow-up challenge with Jair. So a chance for a more conventional delivery, potentially, by Milan Djuric. A whole crowd of players in the 6-yard box. Rolls is in there again, waiting to pounce. Near post is Lewis Miller, and that was the area that Djuric aimed for. A little bit of a damp squib in the end. Isaac Richards beaten less than 5 minutes into his A-League debut. Not that you can really attribute the goal to him. And that was awkward for Moroni. And it goes for a throw. Michael Moroni made his A-League debut here back in 2008-09. This is Kim Un-sun, the South Korean. A little bit wayward with the release. Turned around the corner by Halloran. Returned by Strain towards Moroni. Adelaide certainly won't panic. They've been in this situation before. Comfortable for Ziggy Gordon. Deft touch by De Silva. And he'll continue through. Unfortunate for Danny De Silva. It was a eye-catching little piece of play, also involving Jordan Murray on the right. Some movement. Gets it ultimately from Toure. Broken up by the Mariners, and now they'll try and stream through midfield. Touched by Stensness. This is Jair. Beyond him is Juric. Building nicely here, the central coast. And De Silva just arriving a touch late to be able to get on the end of it. Still alive, though, for Orr. Sliced up in the air by Halloran. Look at that for a touch by Stensness. Unfortunately, the release didn't match it. And then Miliusnic closed down by Miller. Back, only finding Luis Dorigo. But the Mariners really starting where they left off against Sydney last week, where I think most observers, Robbie, figured they were a little bit unfortunate to leave with nothing.
Yeah, I was talking to Alan Stajic about that, and his response to that unluckiness, if you want to put it like that, was that that's what Sydney do. They know how, when they're not at their best, to still get a result. Arguably say that about their performance in Wellington yesterday, although when Ninkovic came on, they were much better. But certainly they've started the better by far here.
Halloran steals a metre on Tommy Orr. Squared up by Strain, and then Troisi. It looked nice on the eye, but the triangle unable to be completed. Thanks to the intervention of Kai Rolls. And conversely, Robbie, you could say that Adelaide probably picking up where they left off. Even though they got that late winner against Newcastle, they were not particularly impressive. In fact, Hercham Babek called it a stolen win.
Yeah, they were second best for most of that game. And they've started very slowly here. Mariners are much sharper, quicker to the ball.
Tommy Orr in the road to prevent progress for Halloran. And Murray is onside here. Waiting for the runners to arrive. One of them is Milan Djuric. Trying to set it back for Jair, but passing lane wasn't quite open enough. And this is Nikola Miliusnic, scorer of a beautiful volleyed goal against the Mariners here in round 6. In fact, such are the vagaries of the A-League fixtures. This is Adelaide United's first away game since their last trip here in mid-November. They've had 3 consecutive home games, and then, of course, the bye last week, which Mr. Babek wasn't best pleased with. Happy for a touch of the ball. Kim On-sun, who just drops in between those 2 central defenders to set up the play for the Mariners. A little touch around the corner by Jair, back heel by Murray. Oh, Danny De Silva slipped at the crucial moment. Still a very good save by Isaac Richards, but it could have been oh so much better for the Mariners.
Well, I think had he scored, I think there was a handball from De Silva. If it had gone in, I think it would have been ruled out, but the missed touch started from Juric, and De Silva falls and it hits his hand. It's still a fine save.
And you're right, the new rules mean even if it's accidental and leads to a goal, then it's going to be rubbed out by the officials. I think you might have been right, but it didn't. So it's a corner, which is angled back towards De Silva, top of the box. Adelaide a bit slow to get out and pressure, and Richards again.
Well, Adelaide, they're asleep at the wheel. There's no doubt about it. De Silva, how much time did he have there? Almost too much time. Pulls us another save out of Isaac Richards.
Again, they work it back to the top of the box. Milan Djuric, and again, they're slow to push out Adelaide, but Dorigo does make the block this time. Very sleepy start by the Reds. Milan Djuric, and he can ping one. Oh, how about that? For Lewis Miller on the right. That's clever too, but it's just going to bounce away from De Silva. The Mariners look to have found a groove early on.
Again, in that conversation with Alan Stajic, he's saying that, you know, his team is the kind of team that needs to start with momentum. Very hard if they don't, or if they lose it, to refine it. So, you know, they've made a great start, but they've got to continue.
Here's Milosnic, Troisi, Michael Maria, Lewis Miller with the block. De Silva for Jair. You can see what he was trying to do there, but didn't quite come off. Let's go down to Adam Peacock, who's pitch side for us this afternoon.
Afternoon, Simon. Yeah, you can notice that the respective starts to the game as Jair just shows more willingness to try and win that ball. By the communication at pitch side here, Adelaide flat, nothing. Central Coast, especially this new setup at the back that they've got, with Kim speaking fluent in Korean, Ziggy Gordon fluent in Scottish, and the rest fluent in English, but they're all communicating really well, very organised at the back. And Herchan Verbeek, the Adelaide coach, she's just sitting there boiling away, boiling away. I would not want to be Adelaide United at half-time if this continues. I reckon the light bulbs might melt.
Yeah, the slow cooker's on, very much so. About to come to the boil in about half an hour's time, unless they can turn things around. It's a useful looking release from Maria, but a really good stretch by Lewis Miller.
I think Michael Maria's lost probably every possession he's had so far.
Jair. Waiting for Miller to push forwards, and he was a little slow in doing so. And Jair's ball was straight at Milosnic. Konstantopoulos. Strain. Dorigo. Ben Halloran, who scored the equalising goal, you might remember, back in mid-November. Beat Mark Birighitti at his near post. Bit of room here for Lewis Miller. Drop of the shoulder by De Silva. Not the best release. James Troisi. Playing in that new deeper role for the Reds, which he seems to quite enjoy. Michael Maria making progress unchecked. Oh, and it falls here for Nathan Konstantopoulos. And really, the Reds could well have been all square. Just opened up out of nothing, really, for Nathan Konstantopoulos.
And he could have hit it first time, and he takes a touch, and it was still on. From that, you know, middle of the goal, he's got to hit the target there. At least make the keeper make a save. Mistake there. Could have hit it first time, still had the time to take that touch, and then he's just tried to be too clever with it.
He's only ever scored 2 A-League goals, Nathan Konstantopoulos, and chance to mark his 50th A-League appearance with an equaliser, but opportunity spurned. Here's Murray, stuck beautifully for him, and De Silva's away on the right. Forced a little wide, Maria giving chase. It's Jordan Murray. Oh, the touch wasn't good. And the chance is gone for the Mariners. But there's some nice combinations developing between the Central Coast in that attacking third.
Yeah, and that's a good run from De Silva from deep. He wasn't picked up, and the goalkeeper even thought for a moment of coming for it. Quickly backpedaled.
Being hassled and harried by Toure, and the young fullback gets the whistle from Adam Fielding. Al Hassan Toure, who caught everybody's attention. That wonderful run in the FFA Cup. He's been a little bit quieter since the start of the A-League season. Did score in round 1 against Sydney, and then of course went away with the Olyroos, where he did net a goal against the Chinese under-23 side. That big qualifying tournament, of course, coming up in January. So A-League clubs are going to lose some of their younger stars for the best part of a month.
They'll miss 3 games, which is the best part of a month. It's just, you know, James Troisi tries to hit that ball, but it's just not working for Adelaide.
Halloran. Trying to get motors running down the right, impeded by Stensness. Ben Halloran, one of 12 Reds coming off contract at the end of the season. Quite a few rumours that he might be at a different A-League club next year. For the moment, he's a Red. And those Reds are in an attacking position with Troisi set piece towards the near post, glanced on by Ben Halloran.
And he did well to glance that on because it was a mishit free kick from James Troisi. Birighitti perfectly positioned.
So here's Kai Rolls, scorer of the game's only goal so far, putting Kim Un-sun under a little bit of pressure here. The Korean is savvy enough to get out of it, along with a bit of help from Tommy Orr. And now he's looking to attack down the left. Jair, oh, it's lovely by Juric, not quite read by his teammate Kim Un-sun. Isaac Richards still has a job to do. But really, they had no right to get out there, the Central Coast. They did so with aplomb. Tommy Orr. Held up by his fellow Queenslander, Ben Halloran. Down the line for Stensness. Stensness wants a bit of help. Kim Un-sun. Throw in Mariners. Keeper is the cry from Ziggy Gordon in that unmistakable Scottish brogue. Rolls to go crossfield, intelligent ball. Beautifully weighted too for Miller. De Silva. Looking for the 1-2 with Stensness. It breaks for Kim Un-sun. Tommy Orr. That's a good steal by Halloran. Now the Reds facing forwards. Nikola Miluznic on the charge, but he's closed down really well by Ziggy Gordon.
Well, Torre did well for him there because it was 2-on-2, and Torre has taken one defender away to the right, and for some reason, Miluznic, instead of attacking the left-hand side, going on Ziggy Gordon and isolating him, he went and just dragged the two defenders together.
There's Danny De Silva being pursued vigorously by Troisi and then being fouled by Miluznic. Scorer of 3 goals this season, Nikola Miluznic, and all of them absolute beauties. Gordon. It's a little nudge by Jakobsen on Murray, but he's strong enough to withstand it. Gets his team a throw. It's been a really promising start to this encounter by the Central Coast as they look to get off the foot of the A-League ladder. Clipped forward by Kim Un-sun. One back in midfield by Konstantopoulos, and then one in the air by Kim Un-sun. Came off Milan Juric latterly. De Silva. Maybe got a nudge from Troisi. Yep, that's the decision from Adam Fielding. There's the as-live ladder. And if the Mariners were to win today, then the Newcastle Jets would be bottom. And there is a Newcastle Jets fan in the Adelaide end. Talk about putting in for your club, Robbie. Go and cheer the opposition.
He's a brave man.
Another free kick for the Mariners. Well, sometimes as a supporter, you just got to do what you got to do, haven't you? I wonder if he's got a coat to put over that jacket. Yes, we know. Those are the boos around the stadium. Tapped short by Juric. A little bit of miscommunication with him and De Silva. Juric! We haven't seen that sweet right foot shot in some weeks. Just finding its range.
There you go, Adelaide, playing the short corner when the Mariners have 4 players on the penalty box.
Here's De Silva. No foul on this occasion, but one back by Stensness ahead of Michael Maria. Slung in by Miller, it took a deflection. Partly away by Dorigo. And Halloran will complete the tidy-up. Look at how immediately surrounded Al Hassan Toure was. The Mariners got the bit between their teeth here. They fancy this tonight. And just on that playing out from a goal kick, Robbie, talked about this on Friday night. Not that there's anything wrong in playing out from the back, but when there's a lot of bodies around pressing,
Well, there were 4 players there.
it just seems totally counterproductive to me. It puts yourself under total pressure.
Well, they nearly gave a goal away. That's what happened just then. It's just dumb, really.
Here's Miliusnic. The stretch from Miller wasn't enough. The cutback, it's Al Hassan Toure. Can he find the angle? Halloran, good save, Birighitti. And I think he thought it was an attacker rushing in.
Yeah.
In fact, it was his own defender, his teammate Ziggy Gordon.
Yeah, because he could have collected it. And Halloran, that was the only one open to him. And their first real attack, Adelaide. And here's the strike. So the one to the far post is blocked, and Birighitti knows that. And he could have just got up and collected that, but they have given the corner away.
Which James Troisi will take in towards the near post, and it's very easy take this time for Mark Birighitti.
Yeah, but it's a decent ball. There's just no one running to the near post. Here's the save, and he thought that was an attacker. Yeah, but just going on that, you know, taking the short corner, the short goal kick. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with pushing everyone up and going long a few times, and then putting some doubt in the minds of the Mariners.
Short corner, Robbie. I thought we were playing hockey for a minute.
Yes.
Adelaide fans in fine voice at far corner of the ground. That team not quite on song.
Now, see, the Mariners, for their part, play it. But it was on the play because Adelaide only had 2 players there, so they outnumbered them. And look at where Kim is now.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not against the principle
No,
at all.
when it's on.
When it's on. But it almost seems as though we're wedded to the concept here. Come hell or high water.
Don't talk about wedded. But enough of those.
Robbie. Birighitti with the shank, for which he apologises. Michael Maria, Konstantopoulos, and Troisi. It's James Troisi inside netting for the Reds.
Well, once he goes for that, you got bodies in the box. Toure just dropped off. I'm not sure if he dropped off enough, but I don't think Troisi was going to square it anyway. And a couple of moves now from Adelaide. And here he goes for it. And your other players will say, well, you've got to score there if you're not going to cross it. And again, they failed to make Birighitti. Well, he had to save the last one, but this one from that position you should be at least again working him.
Well, they started to come alive, though, as you mentioned, and that after they've conceded yet again on the road first. The 5th game in succession they've caught the first goal. Adelaide United. Maybe that's why Alan Stajic is out of his seats, probably for the first time in a while. Maybe senses that danger is brewing, and Troisi gets a lucky bounce there, slings it into the box, but nobody really attacking it for the Reds. And Halloran can't get the better of Tommy Orr here on the near touchline. And he steers it around Tommy Orr beautifully for Jordan Murray. Needs to just hold it to wait for the runners to arrive. This is Milan Djuric, being tracked by Dorigo and Konstantopoulos. Back through Kim On-sun. Floated out wide right towards Lewis Miller.
Yeah, the ball from Kim to Miller's not the best because he just, like he said, he floated it. He needs to get that one into his feet. The floated pass gave Maria time to close Miller down. If he zipped that one out there, Miller had plenty of time to take a touch and take Michael Maria on.
Here for Troisi. Now Halloran, he only has Al Hassan Toure in front of him. There are 4 Mariners defenders around them. Halloran might go on his own. It's Ben Halloran. Another chance goes begging for the Reds, but they're coming, make no mistake about that.
And it was clever play and a great run down the right-hand side. So he has a look, he knows he's got someone, and it tricked all the Mariners defenders because they thought for sure he was going to play that. The only thing missing from that run is again the finish, the final touch. He just screws it wide, and Birighitti very relieved. 3 decent chances now for Adelaide.
Just over half an hour played. So far, you can probably divide this game into 2 15-minute segments. The first quarter of an hour, Robbie, the Mariners very, very good. Adelaide on the rise as Ryan Strain creeps forward metre by metre. Adam Fielding thought about blowing his whistle, but thought better of it. This is Michael Maria. Too heavy off the boot of Troisi. Strain. Halloran puts it out in front of Toure, but rolls is strong. There'll be a corner though. Al Hassan Toure has just signed his first professional contract, tied to the Reds for the next 3 years, along with Luis Dorigo. Good acquisitions both. Investing in the future, the Reds. Here's Troisi with the corner. Fisted away by Birighitti. And Milan Djuric got a knock to the head there, which is why Adam Fielding has blown the whistle so he can get some attention. Yeah, it's a bit of a bell ringer, that. Collision with Michael Maria. It's been good so far. Milan Djuric involved in that first goal. Started with a free kick that he and Tommy Orr worked between them. He spent that 3 or 4 week spell mainly being used as an impact player by Alan Stajic off the bench as he nursed a hip injury. But it's the Bonds that is causing a problem at the moment. But I think overall, Alan Stajic will be delighted with this scoreline. Kai rolls with the only goal, but maybe a little bit less so, Robbie, as we look at the goal again with the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, and look, he would have expected at some point Adelaide to have, their part to play, but to allow them to have 3 such good chances, they've just got stretched, and where they were keeping the ball in that first 20 minutes, they just started to giving it away. And Adelaide, as you know, with Halloran and Miliusnic, very, very quick in transition on a counter-attack.
Man, almost a cry for Michael Maria. He got rid of it quick, smart.
Just in time, wasn't it?
It's not a horrible moment on the pitch. I think we've all had that experience. You just have that micro sleep for a second, and then you hear that man on. Wakes your brain up pretty quickly. Here's Al Hassan Toure. Square by Troisi. Ryan Strain running onto it. Ben Halloran wide right. Looking to pick out Al Hassan Toure. He was closely watched by Lewis Miller.
He looked like he'd got in front of Lewis Miller there, maybe slightly behind him. Decent cross from Halloran. The Mariners just a little bit more tentative now in possession. You can see Michael Maria pushing up. We weren't seeing that in the first 20 minutes.
Forward by Kim Un-sun. Jordan Murray trying to backheel it towards Jair. Good use of the body by Orr, and it breaks kindly for Milan Djuric. It's just going to get away from Jair.
Yeah, a little bit unlucky. Jair was just, as he changed direction, so he just couldn't accelerate onto that. Well, that's the time to play the short one when it's on.
Absolutely. And now there's room for Troisi down the left. Miliusnic. Back through Maria. Crossfield ball was on. Beautifully pinged out towards Halloran. And that was angling in towards Al Hassan Toure, but for the intervention of the outstretched leg of Kai Rolls.
Yeah, brilliant intervention from Rolls, because Toure got across Ziggy Gordon. Super ball from Maria. Gets it out of his feet, Halloran. Great touch. Plays it into that really dangerous area. And you see Toure was in front of Ziggy Gordon, so if it gets past Rolls, he's got to tap in.
So Troisi again. Floated towards Michael Maria, who's waiting to volley it. Didn't really get the required contact, but there will be another corner for the Reds. Jeez, if that goes in on the volley, it's one of the goals of the season. Beautifully found by Troisi, who works this latest corner back towards Dorigo. Headed away by Jair, picked up in the deep by Jakobsen. And they'll reset through Strain. Adelaide having a good spell, but it's a good challenge by Kim Un-sun to deny Troisi. Jair on the charge. He's shut down by Dorigo. Really effective challenge by the youngster. Miliusnic works his way past Stensness.
It's a poor pass to Troisi.
Halloran wanted it. Then it goes back to Miliusnic. That's not great either.
Well, the reason
down
why,
for the Reds.
Yeah, but Miliusnic is still disappointed with his first pass. Forget about that. It's done. Concentrate on the next one.
Much more like the Reds that have strung together a decent string of results. In fact, they're second on the current form table over the last 6 games. Behind Sydney FC, offside flag against Jair. And we talked about how much this game means to the Mariners to get off the foot of the ladder. Of course, if Adelaide win, they'll go up to 3rd. Leapfrogging Perth and Western United. Extra incentive for the Mariners, of course, to get away from the bottom, with the news this week that there'll be a playoff between the last 2 clubs at the end of this season to not one of the teams out of next year's FFA Cup. I think that's a great development, Robbie. A bit of pressure on the bottom of the A-League.
Yeah, and a punishment.
Yeah. Clear foul by Konstantopoulos. And Adam Fielding's going to have a word. Last warning, you fancy, to the Reds midfielder. Ultimately, of course, promotion and relegation would be the go in a second division, but in the interim, I think that's a decent starting point. Meantime, with half-time 5 minutes away, Tommy Orr's free kick only finds the head of Moroni. De Silva sees his effort blocked. That's a clever dummy by Kim On-sun to get rid of Al Hassan Toure. But a drop here for De Silva. Has Miller outside him. Happy to use him as a decoy. Milan Djuric will invite him into the play, though. Michael Maria showing all his experience. Well, there were appeals for a foul against the youngster. And look at this. He was obviously furious about that, and he gets a big hand from the gallery as he scraps for possession and wins the throw for his team. Not put off by the non-award of the free kick. And indicative, really, of the effort put in the first half by the Central Coast. That's a clear infringement on De Silva, and Adam Fielding's patience might be close to running out. In fact, there we go. Booking for Michael Maria. Didn't think it'd be too long, Robbie, before he went to the top pocket.
Well, this deserves one, to be honest. Oh, Michael Maria's sort of complaining. No attempt at all to play the ball, just played the man.
Just his second card of the campaign. This is really good field position now for the Central Coast. And a whole line of players waiting to attack the delivery from Tommy Orr. Murray, Miller and Rolls at the back post. Kim On-sun more central. Jair at the near. Could be a key moment, this, with half-time looming. Orr's delivery, and he only finds Jakobsen. Good distance on the clearing header too. Milan Djuric had opened up for him. Oh, Milan Djuric! There's that sweet right foot again. An absolute beauty. And it's 2 for the Central Coast. He doesn't score tap-ins, does he?
And what a time to score. Approaching half-time. And they've been warned, he's already tried one, and I'm sure they know that that's what he likes doing. I mean, he fashions it well. The header's not a bad one. Look at this, he shapes, comes inside, and unleashes a rocket into the bottom right-hand corner. Look at this, shapes the pass, it comes inside, great feet, and an even better strike. Whistles past the goalkeeper. Adelaide not quick enough to get a block. Super finish from Djuric.
Well, I've gone on record as saying I don't think we've seen a cleaner striker of the ball in the A-League since Nebojša Marinkovic than this guy. When he hits them, they stay hit. It's his 4th of the season, and he's scored some beauties already. And what a lift that gives the Central Coast just before the break. Just at the point of the game, Robbie, where you sensed Adelaide were well on top and looking to strike back.
Well, Adelaide have been punished for not taking their chances. You know, they threw really good ones. And
I'll tell you what, if he was cooking before...
Well, they've been done by 2 set pieces. I mean, second phase of the set piece, but still, that's where it originates from. Maria with a needless foul as well to give away that free kick.
I'm not sure we'll need to send Adam Peacock down the tunnel at half-time. Probably be able to hear him from where he is. Gertjan Verbeek, that is. just the second time this season that the Mariners have scored more than once in a game. The only other occasion was that 2-1 win in Perth. That's the home fans finding their voices. Not had an awful lot to cheer about in this neck of the woods over the last 3 or 4 years. But looking pretty good at the moment. Stensness being driven back by a combination of Konstantopoulos and Milojevic. Ziggy Gordon likewise by Toure. Foul throw. You don't often see that penalised. And here's the question as we move into stoppage time, Robbie. Can the Mariners keep back-to-back clean sheets at home for the first time since a finals game at the end of season 13-14 and then round 1 14-15? Goodness me, that's an eon ago.
Well, if I say yes, it's a bold prediction.
They managed to shut out Western United, of course, in their last home game. And again, Adam Fielding is unhappy with the throw-in, this time for the position from where Michael Maria wanted to take it. He still crept forward some 3 or 4 metres. Here's Toure. No foul. Goal kick. It should be a calmer Mariners dressing room. Aaron Stadgic knows that his team still has a long way to go, but...
No, his half-time team talk will be quite simple. It's concentration, discipline, and keep playing.
Don't sit back too deep. Don't invite pressure. All of the above. Good climb by Murray. He's in position for the quickly taken throw. Jair ignores him. Touched back by De Silva for Djuric. Gordon. And rolls. That header dropped here for Jair, who's onside. Could they be in for a third here? Ryan Strain turns it away.
Well, you feel there was better to do, and maybe he should have taken this on himself. His first touch sort of narrowed the angle, and he gets him behind a mistake from the Adelaide defence. And look, he's looking up, but look where he is. I reckon he can shift that as soon as it gets to his feet onto his right foot and pull the trigger. And you'd fancy a 3-0 at half-time.
Lewis Miller obstructed by Maria, who is in the book, of course. Free kick for Central Coast. Maybe with the final attack of the first half. Lewis Miller's been good down the right, particularly in an attacking sense. He's been really positive.
Yep, he's certainly put Michael Maria, who you remember in the last game here was one of the outstanding players. Well, roles reversed this time. Lewis Miller, who's dominating him in this first half.
2 free kicks have produced 2 goals for the Central Coast. Have Adelaide learned their lesson? If it's 3 at the break, could be game over. Tommy Orr to take. Isaac Richards with the punch. Tough first half on debut for him, and it's bounced inadvertently off De Silva. Milojevic is on his own, but he's got pace. He'll get there ahead of Gordon. Needs a bit of help, though, and it's slow to arrive. He's done about as well as he possibly could. Quickly taken throw too, but too far in advance of Troisi. And that is half-time, and what a first 45 it's been for the Mariners. Everybody on their feet, dressed in yellow around us. They had to weather a bit of a storm from Adelaide after taking the lead through Kai Rolls after just 4 minutes. But what a hit by Milan Djuric with just 3 minutes of the half remaining. His 4th goal of the season, and just at the point of the match where Adelaide were threatening a response. It's a long way back for Herchan Verbeek's side. Important team talk coming up for him at the break. It's all yellow and navy in Gosford. Central Coast Mariners 2, Adelaide United 0. Let's go down to Adam Peacock.
Thank you, Simon. Jordan Murray, job half done. Everyone's pretty happy. Why did you have a half of football like that?
Mate, we've had a really good week of training. We really want to finish, this game off and make sure that everyone has a pretty good Christmas and we go in smiling and focus on next week as well.
So it's 2-0. You had the start and you had the finish to the half. In the middle, they had a few chances. What do you got to do to make sure that those chances don't become the norm in that second half?
Just little lapses in concentration. We just need to be smarter about. I'm sure that we're going to pick it off in half time. But we're good so far. But the job's not done yet. So we've got another 45 to finish the game off.
Too easy, mate. I'll let you go and get your applause right now from everyone else is in. But he's about to go over there. He'll get a round of applause. And they deserve it as well, the Mariners. Comfortable lead at the half. After the break, Tara Rushton, Mark Bosnich, Alex Brosk to tell us all the happenings of that first half and look ahead to the second live here on Fox Sports.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, all good.
Yeah.
Here Sunday afternoon of A-League, which takes us to Central Coast Stadium. The boys right there, the Central Coast Mariners, they're in the lead, playing incredibly well against Adelaide United. They've had the bye, could be lagging a little bit from that, but the Mariners, it is all them in this first half. They hit to the sheds, 2 goals to the good, over the Reds. Welcome back. I'm Tara Rush, and it's great to have your company and that of Mark Mosnich and Alex Brosk. We're weathering the wind out here, gents, but to the football at hand. Bozzy, you've got to say, a fantastic start from the Mariners. They head into the sheds 2 goals to the good.
It was, and great intensity they showed, and that bye syndrome, as we will talk about teams the following week after the bye, sort of set in with Adelaide. They were very lacklustre at the start. Mariners got that early goal, like you said, but to be fair to Adelaide, around the 25-minute mark, they really come back into it. They had enough chances really to equalise. Mariners have got to learn, they have, you could say, but it was a little bit more through luck, that when they go through those periods, when other teams, they are going to have those teams when times are on the top, you've got to dig in.
Yeah.
I.e., get behind the ball, relax yourself, stay in structure, stay in shape, and just sort of, whittle down the fight. But the one thing that they've done that they haven't done in the last 2 games, Broski, is not concede during that time.
True.
And in the end, Milan Juric come up with a wonderful strike to go 2-0 up.
Yeah, it was a good. The first goal anyway was off a set piece. But just back to what you're saying, I think that's right. I think the Mariners at times this year, they have shown that they have been able to withstand a bit of pressure. And today they're doubling up in a lot of areas, which makes it very good. And today, look, I think this goal, they got it right very early on, which is always good. It calms the nerves and gets them going. A great finish there as well. And I think from there on, I think Adelaide started to take a bit more of a hold on the match, but they just couldn't get the goal.
Kai Rolls, which is his second A-League goal ever. Off the set play, it worked for them. Opening goal in 4 minutes. So you're thinking from an Adelaide perspective, well, they're well and truly in it because we've seen the Mariners take the lead very early and then they go on and capitulate. You spoke about that 25-minute period or so. There were chances across the park in that front third. Konstantopoulos, Haller and Troisi as well. They really got the ascendancy in that middle of the first half, Boz.
And this was the first chance, and Konstantopoulos, I think it was Rolls who slipped over. That was a wonderful chance. Really should have hit the target there at least. And if you see there as well, Mariners, how stretched out they are. So what happens with teams when they're a little bit inexperienced, and that's a good save by Birighitti, in terms of being able to manage and to win games, is you think that a lot of teams think they can play at the same intensity for 90 minutes. As Broski would tell you, as much as it seems great, you cannot do it. So when those times happen where collectively as a team you're a little bit tired, get yourselves close together, get behind the ball, try to limit the space as much as you possibly can. Because really, Broski made a good point, desperate defending like you see here with Rolls, but Adelaide will feel that disappointed they didn't equalise at that moment.
Yeah, because they did have the opportunity to. Kai Rolls putting himself everywhere, scoring the goal from a central defensive position and then coming in with a really great defensive move there. Milan Juric, wowee, that was a cracking goal.
Absolutely. We were talking about it before, about just how good he can hit with both left and right foot. He's shaped up a couple of times and looked like he was ready to pull the trigger, but that goal was just fantastic. He does well here to shape for the shot, draw the Adelaide defender in with a dummy, and the finish was excellent. From that far out to beat him like that, great finish. And
to say as well, Tara, onto your point from the start of the show and at the start of half-time, the wind is really stiff right behind Milan Juric. And that's something that Central Coast Mariners will have to be careful of, because if I was an Adelaide manager, I'll be saying as well, start hitting your shots from well out, because the wind is absolutely flying. From a Central Coast Mariners perspective, I don't know what you think, Broski, but I'd be saying as well, it's not a problem to keep a bit of a higher line, because a lot of the long balls, unless they're from really deep, they're going to go straight through to the goalkeeper, because people have got to understand how stiff this wind is.
From an Adelaide perspective, quickly, can they come back into it, Broski?
Well, I think it's going to be hard. They've got the quality and they've got the goals in them, but I think that second goal before half-time really took that out of them. So, I don't know. I think the coach is going to have some strong words to really fire them up, because the way they started, they can't do that in the second half.
Oh, we know that they've got it in their locker, though. Huge contest coming up here live on Fox Sports, live from Central Coast Stadium. Can the Reds claw their way back into the contest? And don't forget, we've got a huge Boxing Day test heading your way right here live on Fox Sports.
From the start, we've been family, brothers, rivals. Sometimes we've taken the rivalry too far.
New Zealand's only hope now is a 6.
That's a disappointing finish.
But all's fair in love and war.
Down the leg side, he's got it. There is absolutely no doubt that ball has hit the ground.
We're two sides of the same bat.
Shane Warne finishes on 99.
Resilient and relentless. And even though we've taken different paths, our battles have made us stronger. Now we face off again. Rivals. Brothers. Australia. New Zealand. Boxing Day test.
Hi, Simon.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Yes, jolly good to see you down there.
Ah, look, it's working a treat.
Mr. Stajuk.
Is that who I am?
That's who you are.
Magnificent.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Lovely. Sure, Robbie, can you just do a check downstairs if you're going to throw a question to Alan? He's not going to throw a question. Okay, yeah. Hey, Grazer, are we coming back with the goals or something else? Okay. Okay. Looks as though Jordan Elsey might be coming on as well. Welcome back to Gosford. This is the moment that has lit up this place in the first half. Came with just 3 minutes of the opening period to go. Milan Djuric, what a cracker. And what's that? Christmas turkey impression as the celebration? Whatever it is, it was worth watching again. What a great strike by Milan Djuric. Kai Rolls, of course, earlier had ended a goal drought for the Mariners that had gone on 3 3/4 hours. All looking pretty good for the Mariners in their bid to get off the foot of the ladder, and their coach Alan Stajic is waiting to speak to us. Thanks very much for your time, Alan. Fair to say that went even better than perhaps you expected in the first 45?
Oh, look, you never know what to expect in a match, but look, it's panned out really well. Adelaide still looked good on the counter-attack a few times, so we always have to be wary, but, you know, there's a whole new 45 minutes to go, so we're certainly not comfortable yet.
Did you change anything in your approach tonight? Because we know you made a couple of personnel changes.
Yeah, look, we changed a couple of things, and we changed the shape and a few principles of pressing up high, but look, at the end of the day, it's still the same principles we've been working on all year and just tweaked a few things for this match.
Anything else change in second half, Alan?
No, not at the moment.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's Alan Stajic. There is a change, though, for Adelaide United, I can tell you. Michael Morone has been replaced at half-time. Jordan Elsey is with us. He'll play alongside Michael Jakobsen. So the Mariners get things back underway. 2 goals to the good, Robbie Slater. Just the 3rd time this season they've been ahead at the break. And really, they should go on and collect all 3 points from this position.
Yeah, certainly in the driving seat. And as Alan Stajic just said, they've got to be wary of Adelaide on the counter. You just wonder whether Adelaide might try and push up a little bit more and try and control possession.
Konstantopoulos getting the better of Kim Un-sun. A real physical challenge between the two, but Adam Fielding happy to let it ride. It's Halloran. Oh! Ben Halloran! That is a screamer. At the end of this ground where he scored back in round 6. That was a good hit, but this one is even better. And right from the kickoff, Adelaide are back in it at 2-1.
Well, you can't really blame anyone. It's just an extraordinary goal. And I talked about, will they want to control possession? Well, they get the possession here. Konstantopoulos out to Halloran, takes one touch inside, and that's an absolute screamer with his left foot. Konstantopoulos bursting through, one touch, and look at that. That is unstoppable. Birighitti can only watch it as it starts outside the post and bends inside the post with real power. What a finish.
A scorcher from Ben Halloran. And as Alan Stajic warned, the game is not done. Mariners will perhaps argue that there was a foul on halfway as Konstantopoulos wrestled possession away from Kim Un-sun. But Adam Fielding was in a good position on the field and saw nothing untoward. And there was certainly no question about the quality of the finish. That is what Ben Halloran is capable of. That's why he won 6 caps for the Socceroos and was part of Ange Postecoglou's World Cup squad in 2014. Here's Mile Jusnic. Could it get better for the Reds? Floated towards Halloran. He was waiting to pull the trigger again, but for the intervention of Giannis Stensnes. But what a start to the second period by the visitors. Dorigo with the cutback. And all of a sudden, the Mariners look a touch nervous, Robbie.
Well, Alan Stajic probably just can't believe what he's witnessed. I mean, he's just finished talking to you. They've kicked off, and the very first movement of either side, and it's in the back of Birighitti's net. But just with the conviction he took that with, Ben Halloran. One touch, brought it inside Tommy Orr. There's not much you could say. You couldn't say it was poor defending. It was just a brilliant strike.
It was weaker foot as well, theoretically. Maria, and they were looking for the little give and go between Mile Jusnic and Troisi. Didn't quite work out. Now Lewis Miller trying to get himself out of a bit of a sticky situation. Will be a throw for the Mariners. Let's go down to Adam Peacock.
Yes, Simon, just on that goal, there was a bit of a delay. They were doing a VAR check on a foul possibly on Kim on halfway here with Konstantopoulos, but as you can see, it's a bit of both happening. Kim with his shorts, and Alan Stajic was straight out of his seat to the fourth official to say, got to check that, got to check that. They did, said it was okay. Herjan Verbeek, who might have given his team a bake at halftime. I didn't hear it, I did eavesdrop a bit, but I'm not sure. He celebrated by just staring into cold space, sitting down, didn't move a muscle. I think he's still ticked off from that first half.
Interesting. Thanks, Adam. Halloran has now earned his team a free kick after getting them back into the game.
Well, the importance of what they've done is, 2-0 down going into the second half. You want to get a goal as early as possible.
Couldn't get much earlier than that.
Much earlier. I'm not sure how long was gone.
About a minute. Here's Troisi with the free kick.
They kick off, and it's a goal.
Juric. Adam Fielding's going to bring them back.
Yeah, it's good refereeing. No problem with that. Trying to play the advantage. There was none. Clearly a foul earlier in that movement.
Oh, a whole different complexion now on the contest. And there's those consecutive home clean sheets gone for a Burton Robbie that we talked about towards the end of the first half.
I told you it would have been a bold prediction.
It was, as it turned out.
But the strike from Halloran was breathtaking.
Sure was. A little layoff by Jordan Murray, who has toiled hard at the point of the attack alongside Jair. Mariners perhaps just trying to contain for a moment, take the sting out of this resurgent Adelaide side. Whether it was quiet or not, you reckon they will have copped it from Herjan Verbeek during the half-time interval. Here's Murray. couldn't get around Jakobsen. Tracy stretching, can't keep it away from Stensness. The rebound favours De Silva. There's nobody there though on the left that De Silva really wanted. They'll get the decision, the foul by Halloran. Header from Ryan Strain from the resultant free kick. Danny De Silva. Gordon for Miller.
He's got to be careful.
Yep. On the booking from the first half. And was pinged, you might remember, for an obstruction as well late on in that first 45. You can get booked for accumulation of fouls. Here's James Troisi with Miller snapping at his heels. Difficult one to control for Toure. Just wouldn't stick, and he wants the decision, which he's not going to get, and showing a bit of frustration towards Adam Fielding.
Well, he sort of did well to bring down, because Troisi pelted a ball at him right at his chest, and he tried to cushion it to drop right in front of him. It just bounced a little bit and gave the Stensness just that advantage in the next challenge.
Just on Michael Maria, incidentally, he's now conceded 4 fouls in the game, so probably really got to watch his step. Here's Jair. Foot race with Jakobsen, who's strong in the challenge, a little too strong. Jakobsen thought it was shoulder to shoulder. Adam Fielding disagreed. What's your view, Robbie?
Yeah, I think earlier in the movement there was a slight push as well, so it might be also for the first one. The second one was strong. We'll see better here. There's a bit of the arm into the rib cage as well. Well, they've scored from 2 set pieces. It's a good position for Tommy Orr. And you just look how deep Adelaide are from this free kick. They're on their own 6-yard box. Just wondering whether that's a little bit too deep.
See if the Mariners can profit. They tap it short, and it's not worked out at all, at least not yet, for the Central Coast. Or De Silva getting their wires crossed, floated back in by Ziggy Gordon. There might have been an offside flag had it found its way through to Murray. Instead, it's with Miller, who's looking for the contact and the foul, but isn't going to get it. Easy for Rolls. Ryan Kitto's going to be with us shortly. More news on that in a moment when the ball goes dead. In the meantime, it's Gianni Stensness. Now De Silva. Jair wanted it played early. De Silva goes inside instead, being tracked by Troisi. Works it out towards Juric. This is beautifully played by the Mariners. Tommy Orr and Jair arriving at the back post. Just couldn't convert, and they are appealing for a corner.
Oh, I thought it came off an Adelaide player. I thought it was a terrific interception. Sorry, Simon.
Yep. But it's the end of the section for Michael Maria. It's going to be replaced by Ryan Kitto, and Adam Peacock has more.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. That's actually his last effect on the game, Michael Maria, that piece of defending on Jair to put him off there. But Gertjan Verbeek wasn't very happy with him, that latest foul that he gave away. As soon as that happened, he said to Carl Veert, his assistant, go and get Ryan Kitto. I've had enough of this, because he's been at him all afternoon, Verbeek, to his fellow Dutch-speaking player in Michael Maria in Dutch. So, Simon, I needed you down here to translate. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was terrific defending his last action.
It sure was.
But I think Verbeek obviously worried about a red card from Michael Maria, and
yep.
I think he's probably pretty sensible in that decision.
As you remember, back in round 6, he was into Michael Maria virtually the whole game. He was very good that day. Troisi's run into a cul-de-sac in the shape of Danny De Silva, and Juric will sweep it forward toward Jair on the right. It's 4 against 4 here, but it's not the right cross from Jair. And that's coolly done, acrobatically done by Jakobsen. And Troisi's lost out again. It was his turnover that led to the chance in the first place for the Central Coast.
And he's just turned over it again. He's looking for a foul there.
Juric goes back to Gordon. Helped on by Lewis Miller. Murray. Right idea, but Ryan Kitto making sure he stayed goal side of the run of Miller. Slung forward by Elsie. Good win in the air by Milojuznic. Nodded wider by Konstantopoulos. This is Kitto. There's lots of space on the right for Halloran. Beautifully found by Kitto as well, must be said. And Halloran has rather wasted that opportunity. Instead, the Mariners carry it forward through Jair. A hopeful ball forward by Tommy Orr. And now Ryan Kitto. Started most of the early season games in that left fullback role, but has lost out to Maria in recent weeks. Getting his chance now. Here's Halloran, who has given Adelaide a chance in this game. Not quite right for Milojuznic. But a contest that's very nicely balanced now. Just over half an hour to play. Adelaide started to make their case back in the game, courtesy of Ben Halloran. Change made at left back. Jordan Murray. Ryan Kitto ensuring he makes no further progress. Juric set off on a run, and the throw-in was angled towards him. Intelligent header by Murray. Juric trying to cushion it for Jordan Murray, and Jakobsen went through the back of him. He too has perhaps got to watch his step. Another free kick for the Mariners.
Yeah, and it's like you said, another free kick for the Mariners. They're just giving so many free kicks away in dangerous positions.
Jordan Murray taking one for the team. He missed out last week through concussion against Sydney FC. Just Michael Jakobsen's second foul of the game. But again, a good position for the Central Coast. The defensive line a little bit higher than it was for the previous set piece. Squared up again by Juric. Tommy Orr rolls, trying to wrap his boot around it, which he does. Here's Juric and De Silva. Oh, I think Isaac Richards was beaten. Thankfully for him, it dropped onto the roof of the goal and not underneath it. Cheeky effort though by De Silva.
Yeah, hits it first time. You see he's going for it. I think you're right. Isaac Richards had slipped as well as he tried to take off towards his far post.
But the Mariners now have got a modicum of control back. A long ball from Birighitti, and Jair's onto it, and in behind Ryan Strain, he's forced wide. And was looking for the cutback for Jordan Murray. And we're not going to have a corner. We're going to come all the way back for an offside against the Brazilian. Linesman kept his flag down initially, which of course they're told to do now if they're in any doubt. Let the VAR sort out any potential error. Adelaide now guilty of playing out from the back and almost getting punished for it. Still might do. It's a poor release from Elsie. De Silva. Oh, almost deceived himself with the step overs. Careful, Denny. Where are you going, Danny? Well, it was easy on the eye, but he wasn't making much progress. Miller did well to keep that one in play. Came back at him at a fair old rate of knots. Here's the little step overs and drag backs and back heels.
Plenty of touches.
Yeah. Throw seems scant reward, doesn't it? Miller. Bowled over, but no foul by Troisi. And now Miller's full of rage and chasing back. This could be a foul coming the other way. Actually, he's done really well. Just his mere presence, the youngster, seemed to be enough for Troisi.
Oh, it's great tracking back, but for James Troisi, he's not really in the groove there. He had plenty of time. He had two options on the right-hand side, and he just hesitated and waited too long. And then his pass to Miliusinic was not a long way, and he's just hit the Mariners player. So, you know, if Adelaide are going to get something out of this game, they need Troisi to lift.
Just a word on Lewis Miller, still a youngster making his way in the game, 19 years of age. So I think he's been good again tonight. He's going to get away from all. A youngster of immense promise. Former Manly United and Sydney FC junior.
Well, he has had a very good game, and you know, in reality, he's seen off Michael Maria.
Here he is again. Oh, but he's lost out. Commentator's curse to Miliusinic. Could it be costly for the Mariners? Konstantopoulos was arriving. Tommy Orr with evasive action for the Central Coast.
Well, you certainly put the hex on young Lewis Miller there. And that was inches away. Inches away.
Sucking in the big ones now is Lewis Miller. It's going to be Nathan Konstantopoulos with this corner for the Reds. Oh, Jordan Elsey climbed highest of all and had a good look at the goal, but couldn't deflect the ball goalwards.
Yeah, attack the ball, and there's the key. He's the one that attacks it with the most conviction. That's a good chance. Great delivery from Konstantopoulos.
Lockie Brook is being readied as Adelaide's third and final change. Here he comes now. And James Troisi has perhaps been on peak form tonight. He'll take his leave. So here comes the 18-year-old. And he's another one from that part of South Australia that we mention a lot in A-League terms, Gawler. Something in the water in that part of the world. On for just his fourth A-League appearance.
Yeah, look, it's a big shout. And I did say that they needed James Troisi to lift if they were going to get something out of this game.
Here's Kitto. Halloran looking to link up with Konstantopoulos. Stensness in the way. Clearance is weak though. Here's Nikola Miliusinic trying to bend it, and Birighitti had to push it away. Couldn't afford to take a chance.
No, because he sees it late as well. Comes from behind a defender. Ziggy Gordon might have thought Gordon was going to clear it, but goes past him. Dives late, pushes it away from the danger area. Yeah, like I said, big shout, because although Troisi wasn't having a good period there, he's still a player of huge experience and presence. I think Alan Stajic would be delighted to see James Troisi go off.
Well, Champ Verbeek is not afraid to give the youngsters a go, and Lachlan Brook is going to take this corner, which is not the best. He is the youngster who was part of the young Socceroo squad that's won the ASEAN Championships during the off-season. Another clutch of youngsters being given their opportunity by Herchan Verbeek. Talking of youngsters, Samuel Silveira is going to be the Mariners' first change, next break in play. By Murray, helped on by Jair, and Juric is onto it. Luis Dorigo trying to keep pace with him. Juric flicks it through the gap. Jair finds the angle for the cross, which wasn't bad. Steered away by Konstantopoulos for now. Hassan Toure barely mentioned his name tonight. Trying to get involved. Juric, tempting cross. Isaac Richards, good punch away, got good distance as well. Under heavy pressure. Mariners having a bit of a spell. Kim Un-sun on that left-hand side. Danny De Silva into the channel intelligently for Gianni Stensness. Strain goes with him. Behind them is Orr. De Silva. Juric. De Silva again. Building nicely here. Just wouldn't quite sit for Murray. He'll leave it for Miller and take his position in the middle. It's over his head, and Elsie gets it out of harm's way for now for Adelaide. Recycle through De Silva. Miller too strong for Kitto and for Brook. He is a bullocking young lad, isn't he, Lewis Miller? He's lost out eventually. Oh, and that's just frustration from the youngster. Play will continue. I fancy Lewis Miller will be booked for that next break in play. Kitto back to his feet. Konstantopoulos on the ball. Halloran on the right. And the cutback is not good.
Well, the movement wasn't good. Cut that back wasn't brilliant. But the counter was on. Well played from the referee to play on. I thought Lewis Miller, well, he might get booked in the end, but I thought there was a foul against him.
Looks a bit leggy at the moment, doesn't he, Lewis Miller? He's done an awful lot of chasing up and down that right flank.
He doesn't want that ball to go out. Maybe the referee will forget.
He's done well to retain possession for his team. Kim Un-sun. Just waiting for that run to arrive. And it does now from Tommy Orr. That's an important touch from Halloran, who tracked back all the way. And it goes now via the left boot of Kai Rolls. And here's that change, and I think it's going to be a booking for Lewis Miller. Had to wait a while, did Adam Fielding, but he's got his man in the end. And here's why.
Yeah, I thought there was a foul against him, to be fair, but you can't take the law into your own hands.
Yeah, just a bit of payback, wasn't it, from Miller? Here's that change for the Mariners, and Milan Juric, scorer of that wonderful second goal just before the break, is going to take his leave to be replaced by Samuel Silveira. He's delighted us again with the quality of his finishing. And gets a big hand from the home fans. More than that, it's a standing ovation. And on in his stead comes the 19-year-old Samuel Silveira, who actually won the penalty converted by Milan Juric. Gave the Mariners the lead in the clash between the two back in round 6 here, but Mariners lost that night by 3-1. So far, Alan Stagic's team has weathered the second half storm that he would have known was coming. Reds stung by a rather lacklustre first half display. And maybe an extra insurance policy is going to arrive shortly off the bench. Dylan Fox, who hasn't been cited in recent weeks. Central defender by trade. It's going to be on next break in play. Advantage played. Good refereeing that by Adam Fielding. Jair. 2 defenders to deal with, and 2 was 1 too many in the end. Quickly one back though.
Yeah, Mariners on top now.
Stensness was key with the release. Dorigo finding Kitto. Miliosnic away on his bike. And his pace might get him there. Ziggy Gordon's pretty quick too, but
He's desperately unlucky.
He is.
He really had no right to get there. What about the pace of him now? The one good thing he doesn't allow it to go for a goal kick so that they can keep the Mariners hemmed in here.
Here's that change for the Mariners. Dylan Fox for Lewis Miller. Adam Peacock's got more on that.
Yeah, Simon, a bit like the one with Michael Maria and Kurtan Babake making the decision there, and then when the foul happened, Alan Stajic, as soon as he saw Lewis Miller, he was battling, and yeah, he was gassed, put it that way, trying to all this tracking back. As soon as he did that foul earlier on Ryan Kitto, he made the decision to send down Dylan Fox to go and get ready and come on fresh legs to try and nullify this counter-attacking ability of Adelaide.
Thanks, Adam.
Well, good shift from the youngster.
Very good. Oh dear. It's a naughty challenge by Ziggy Gordon, and he's going into the book as well. Dylan Fox will play in his more usual central defensive role, with Ziggy Gordon sent out wide right. And that was his first tackle back in his more usual position. And it's put the Mariners under a little bit of pressure here. Confirmation of that change. Nathan Constantopoulos to try and pick out a teammate. Good shape to it. Came off the Mariners player last, and Jakobsen just protects the ball behind for a corner. Which again, Lachlan Brook will jog over to take.
Yeah, get another corner. It was a wicked ball from Constantopoulos.
Jordan Elsey with a bit of push and shove with Stensness, that the ref's keeping an eye on. And Brook has bent it too close to Birighitti, who spilled it first time and just almost opened the door for a fraction of a second for Al Hassan Toure.
That's his second corner from the same side there, Lachlan Brook, and both far too cool. The first one was way too hard, and that really easy one for Birighitti.
Turned over by Rolls. Constantopoulos, touched by Strain. Halloran, Dorigo. Adelaide building nicely here. Strain. Brook, Dorigo. Halloran again. Miliusnic in a good position, looking for the cutback potentially. Just couldn't find the angle, and he's unfortunate again, Nikola Miliusnic, that the rebound goes off his shins and not the defender. It's a bit like Russian roulette, that, isn't it? When you try and play it off the defender, there's always that possibility that it rebounds back onto you.
Yeah, and he looks up because he was looking for movement in the box and there wasn't any. For me, we've talked a lot about Toure and the promise, but he's been disappointing somewhat this evening. Hassan Toure. Real presence about him.
Michael Jakobsen collected. Looks to be in a bit of discomfort, that left shoulder. Play continues without him. Rangy sort of a ball for Halloran. Was there contact there by Orr? Adam Fielding says no. Ben Halloran thinks there was a definite infringement there by Tommy Orr.
Well, the first thing I think about, he's got to be offside.
It's going to be offside on Murray.
The first thing I think about is, why would he fall over?
Well, if there is any contact, you can be sure the VAR.
Well, here he goes. He attacks Tommy Orr.
We'll find it.
Oh. You'd have to slow it down.
This might be a better angle.
Maybe he just slips.
Oh, does he catch that left boot? Difficult to tell. And if it's difficult for us, you'd imagine the VAR would leave it be. Here's Miliusnic. Strain. But Adelaide having a good spell. Halloran. Clearing header by Rolls. Lachlan Brook trying to weave his way through traffic. Mariners struggling to get out. Kitto. It's all a bit narrow for the Reds.
Too narrow.
Ryan Strain. Width provided now by Halloran on the right. 3 to try and pick out in the box. It's too deep for Konstantopoulos. Out it pops for Kitto. Halloran waiting back post. Up in the air by Orr. And it's desperate stuff by the Mariners. Anywhere will do. Ryan Strain to reset. Strain again. Miliusnic inside the box. Side netting.
Yeah, he goes for the shot. I think he's got to cross that one. Slick play in the end. That was very narrow. He managed to get in behind in the end on about the third phase of that attack. The ball slipped in there. Good first touch, and it's now an impossible angle.
Interesting second half stats. Adelaide have had just 37% possession. Doesn't really feel like that because they've created many more opportunities than the Mariners.
Yeah, it's because they play on the counter. So you have that impression. You know, their surges forward are sweeping and cover a large distance. Whereas the Mariners have had more of the ball in tight areas.
It's a good explanation. Kitto. Halloran. Tommy Orr. We weren't sure if there was going to be a left back today. Certainly is at the moment. That's a good touch by Jair to take it off Jordan Murray. And the Mariners spring forwards. Only Silvera in the box. Beaten easily in the air by Jakobsen.
Look at the space now.
Al Hassan Toure getting involved in the play, which has been a rarity for the youngsters. For the youngster tonight, I should say. Halloran on the right. Line strain again in an advanced position, helped on by Konstantopoulos, but easy in the end for Birighitti.
I'm not sure what he's thinking there, Konstantopoulos, as he sort of helps that on. Is he trying to help it onto the back post? It certainly didn't look like an attempt at goal. In spite of their counter-attacks, not looking likely to score. Birighitti hardly tested.
Just that one real save, wasn't there, from apart from the goal, of course, scored by Ben Halloran.
The one from Miliusnic, that's right.
He had to push away and behind for a corner. Sweeping pass cross field by Jakobsen.
Well, Halloran's seen more of the ball in the last 10 minutes.
Here he is again, leaves it for Strain. Alan Santoure maybe just
he's just
static. Touch static.
Yeah, he doesn't make a run. I mean, he's just static. I mean, you've got to make either a spin out and go to the back post or attack the near post.
Two Mariners players just stretching out the legs. Danny De Silva, Kim Un-sun. Late on in the game.
Just the way the game has panned out, I just think taking off James Troisi was counterproductive, really. He certainly had an average period in the game. He'd lost a few balls in succession, but I just think his presence and experience and know-how around the box on the ball is bound to produce something sooner or later.
It's a clever drop of the shoulder by Stensness. Silvera. Murray. Turning clear of Konstantopoulos. And Gordon calling for it and getting it on the right. Just couldn't link up with De Silva. Gordon's presence alone was enough to put Lachlan Brook off his stride. Stensness. Gordon. De Silva. Orr. Out towards Murray. Rolls. And Dylan Fox. It's a good bit of possession football by the Mariners. Well, The home fans are a bit frustrated. They've gone all the way back to Birigiti.
Yeah, there was no real need. They were in comfortable possession there. And now they just give the ball back. No need to go all the way back to the keeper.
Into the last 10 minutes. As it stands, the Newcastle Jets will be bottom of the A-League tonight. Adelaide United will miss the chance to go third. Jordan Murray gets clear of Elsey. Could this be the sealer? Oh, it's a vital touch by Ryan Strain. Really important, maybe game-saving.
Yeah, because, and Jordan Murray, to his credit, just didn't execute the pass. He saw Jair completely unmarked. And if that pass had made it, Jair was faced with only the goalkeeper one-on-one.
Adelaide stay alive. Forward by Gordon, cushion header by Jakobsen. Dorigo finds the gap nicely for Konstantopoulos, but the presence of Jair was enough.
Yeah, and it's very predictable from Adelaide.
Strain. Konstantopoulos might have a go himself here. It took a deflection and looped up over the crossbar. Corner ball. Matt Simon's going to be with us shortly. There's that Newcastle fan checking the league ladder on his phone, maybe. That's what it looks like at the moment. Adelaide would drop down to 5th. That could all change over the next few minutes. Mariners just deciding whether to make that change. They do. So Matt Simon is with us in place.
Yeah, interesting on a defensive corner.
Jordan Murray,
well.
I think. Now Jakobsen is asking for a penalty. The little collision with Kai Rolls looked rather optimistic, that shout.
Well, who took that corner? Was it? It was the same man again.
Brook.
Well, he's taken 3 and they've been all pretty disastrous.
Is there anything in this? Well, you know, that's maybe worth a closer look. Michael Jakobsen jockeying for position with Kai Rolls. Just confirmation of that change. In fact, it's not Jordan Murray who's been replaced, it's Jair. And Matt Simon, the Mariners' top goal scorer of all time, is with us. Needs just 2 more for his half-century with the club. And his involvement is immediate, although Murray, his strike partner, is offside. Jakobsen had to take that one first time under real pressure from De Silva. Too far in front of Silvera from Rolls, and offside flags up again. Not making himself too popular, the linesman near touchline, I don't think. Resilient enough to see this one out. It's cleverly done by De Silva to find the space for Stensness. Silvera never looked likely to get that.
Well, you don't want to say it too early, but I think considering conceding straight after the kickoff for the second half, I think the Mariners have performed really well.
So far, they get the decision there. Toure thinks it's harsh, but infringement on De Silva.
I think they've defended well. Kept most of Adelaide's attacks in front of them. And they've had their chances as well.
Kim On-sun kills it out towards Simon. Under 5 minutes of the regulation 90 to go. Silvera. Block tackle by Halloran. Will be a Mariners throw. Mariners face Perth here next on New Year's Eve, their traditional New Year's Eve game, before a trip to Wellington. Adelaide have the Wanderers to come to Cooper Stadium on the 27th of December. Before that, Al Hassan Toure trying to keep Dylan Fox honest. Jacobson creeping forward. And you can hear by the Mariners fans they're right into this. They know how close their team is to an all-important win. Remember, back-to-back home wins they haven't had in this part of the world since the start of the 15-16 season. They're just a few minutes away from putting that right, unless there's late drama here. Halloran, Mile Usnic. Konstantopoulos outside him, but Tommy Orr will get there first. And on balance, Robbie, would you say they're worthy of the 3 points, the Central Coast?
Yep, I would say definitely. I think they've controlled it pretty well. Like I said, since they conceded that wonderful goal from Halloran Adelaide, it's been a strange performance. That goal aside, they've been pretty predictable. And they've had, you know, Torres posed little threat.
And they've missed the industry, of course, of Riley McGree. Still on the injured list tonight. Christian Opseth too. George Blackwood, another absentee with a calf injury. And he's without Paul Izzo as well, his regular goalkeeper, Hertjan Verbeek. He's been pretty stoic and quiet throughout. That's not to say he's happy by any stretch. Volleyed forward by Ziggy Gordon, and Adelaide a bit slow to react. It's Jordan Murray, and it's the side netting.
I think his touch just allowed Jordan Elsey to put that little bit of pressure on. I tell you, he works so hard, Jordan Murray. He deserves a goal.
They're very busy throughout, occupying defenders, keeping them busy. Defending from the front. That's a foul on De Silva. Let's quickly go down to Adam Peacock again.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. It's an interesting decision by Alan Stajic to bring on Matt Simon a while back, because Kim Yun-son in particular, he is feeling it after running around at the base of midfield all game. So using that third one, an attacking player, and Kim was stretching out a few calf muscles before, but he looks to be okay. Should be able to get through the next couple of minutes. Adelaide have changed their shape. They pushed Kiddo up from left back, 3 at the back. Mile Usnic has gone inside with Toure. So, yeah, different look now for the Mariners to try and hold on with.
Yeah, Kim Un-sum was one of those players we saw stretching out the calves, touch of cramp. And that was about 10-15 minutes ago. I did think at the time that Alan Stajic might replace him, but he's gone a different road. So far, it's worked out okay. We're into the last minute of the 90. So, different shape or not, time's starting to run pretty short for the Reds. Here's Halloran, who gave them hope at the outset of the second half with that wonderful finish. Tackle from behind by Kim Un-sun. He disagrees, but it's a foul, a free kick. And maybe a set piece is going to do the trick for the Reds. He does get a piece of the ball.
Yeah, but he makes a challenge he really didn't need to make, because he was facing the wrong way, Halloran. He was going out towards the sideline. This is a pretty good result for Adelaide, and you're right, maybe a set piece. It hadn't really looked like it from open play since getting one back. This is important. Birigidi here and there, belling out instructions.
We heard the gasp from the fans. 5 minutes of stoppage time to be played. It's Mikael Jakobsen. That was ambitious.
Yeah, and they'll be happy with that. Mariners will be happy to see Jakobsen try and hit that from that distance. Well, they've got 5 minutes to hang on, a little bit less now.
He's only ever scored one A-League goal, Michael Jakobsen. It's all a little bit jumpy, a bit nervy on the Mariners bench. Alan Stajic controlling the technical zone. Takes his seat now next to his assistant, Noel Arati. His team, by and large, have done him proud tonight. Talked about putting together a full 90 minutes performance. Well, they've done that. They've just got to hang on for another 4. Here's Konstantopoulos. Little pirouette by Strain, who then brings in Halloran into the play. And Al-Hassan Toure, and it was moving towards that far corner. Took a touch off a Mariners defender on the way through. It's going to be a Reds corner.
Well, the fans had their hearts in their mouths there. I mean, the cross just hits him, really. Hit him flat.
Just glanced off the back of Dylan Fox. So more pressure. Konstantopoulos in towards the near post. Danny De Silva trying to get things clear for the Central Coast.
And he gets it clear, but he doesn't have the energy to chase the ball. So they're out on their feet.
Lachlan Brook lifts it in and headed well wide in the end by Ryan Strain. All valuable seconds tick away. February 2017, the last time Adelaide were beaten by the Mariners. Over 3 years, nearly 4, since the Mariners last won back-to-back home games. They beat Western United 1-0 last time here. And they're 2-1 up deep into stoppage time against the Reds. And they got a free kick, and it's being cheered like a goal by the home fans. Pumped forward by Kim On-sun. No real direction though. Kai rolls, fires it out towards Simon on the left. Just hit Stensness. It won't stay alive for the Reds.
And with so many important players missing, and Troisi's obviously gone off, you just look, you know, Adelaide, and it just seemed Jakobsen's the leader, but he's at the back. There's just no one in that middle of the park really driving or organising what's happening in a forward sense, and that's been pretty much the tale of the second half.
Stick around for reaction on the back of this game, and of course we've got a full wrap of the weekend's action, including that big Melbourne derby yesterday. Tara and the boys will wrap it all up for you once the action is done on the pitch here. And the Mariners perhaps not quite done just yet. Jordan Murray. And the Adelaide defence just went to sleep for a moment. It's Danny De Silva. Silvera run out of it by Jakobsen. That could be costly. Miliusnic evades the sliding challenge of Gordon. Ryan Kitto, Gordon desperately trying to get back goal side. Kitto's too quick for him. Did that take a touch? No, it's a goal kick.
He goes for the strike, and he's just mishit it. It's come off the outside of his boot. A real forceful run from Kitto. And the way he's trying to strike it, I think he's trying to go low and hard across the goal, across the keeper. And it just comes off the outside of his boot in the end. He sees the keeper where he is. Yeah, sort of mishit it, and he knows it.
Home fans trying to help their team over the line. Matt Simon standing back into Michael Jakobsen, and kicking the ball away when really that wasn't necessary.
No, they don't need to do that. They just need to get back. And
it's a booking for Jordan Murray for doing that.
They just need to get back, get organised.
It's going to be all on this, really.
Yep.
All on this. The 5 minutes nearly up. Isaac Richards looking for instructions from Herchan Babake. He's just got to put it in the mixer and hope. Up it goes. Elsie can't reach it. It pops out for Dorigo. Time nearly up. A check of the watch from Adam Fielding.
That'll be it.
And that is that. They have done it, the Central Coast.
And they deserve it.
Back-to-back home wins in Gosford for the first time since the 2015-16 season for the Central Coast Mariners, and a first win in 9 attempts against Adelaide United. 1,050 days they had to wait since February 2017. But Alan Stadgic's team are off the foot of the table. Newcastle Jets, their local rivals, replace them at the bottom as the Reds suffer a hangover after the bye and miss the chance to move into third. Kai Rolls got the ball rolling for them as early as the 4th minute. Milan Djuric with an absolute peach just before half-time. And despite an equally spectacular goal from Ben Halloran that got the Reds back in it within a minute of the restart, the Reds, try as they might, simply could not find an equaliser. It's a tribute to the newfound resilience of the Central Coast that they dug in, and they've got the points. Central Coast Mariners